I know, Mataji. I know.
Okay, then you all go with me together. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kalamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Samsajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Govesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Can you all repeat? Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
One more time. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So we read last week 2.61. Does anybody remember what we have discussed? Those who control the senses, keeping them under control, under full control, those who restrains the senses. That means those of us who first of all do not engage them in bad habits, we get it under control. Then what we do later, we focus it on Krishna. Then we become somebody who is steady in intelligence. That means our intelligence always helps us to decide the right thing to do. Tasya prajna pratishtata. Okay, so now we're going to do 2.62. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha.
Dhyayato Vichayam Pumsaha.
Sangasteshu pajayate.
Sangaste Supajayate.
Sangat sanjayate kamaha.
Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha.
Kamat krodho bijayate.
Kamat Krodho Vijayate.
Who wants to repeat?
Mataji, can I?
Mihika and Manhar. Okay, Manhar, go ahead.
Okay. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa.
Wait for us to repeat after you. Okay?
Okay.
Make us repeat.
Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa.
Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha.
Sangasteshu Pajayate.
Sangasteshu pajayate.
Sangat Sanjayate Kama.
Sangat sanjayate kama.
Kamata Krodho Vijayate.
Kamat krodho bijayate. Okay, go ahead, Mihika.
Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa.
Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha.
Sangastesu Pajayate.
Sangasteshu pajayate.
Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha.
Sangat sanjayate kamaha.
Kamat Krodho Vijayate.
Kamat krodho vijayate. Anyone else?
Can Govinda try?
Okay, go ahead.
Can you help me?
Okay. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha
Nayatam Visayam Pumsaha
Sangasteshu pajayate
Sangasteshu Pajayate
Sangat sanjayate kamaha
Sanjay Sanskenya Kamaha
Sangat
Sangad
sanjayate kamaha
Sanjayate Kamaha
Kamat
Kamat
krodho bhijayate.
Krodha Vijayate.
Okay. Kushi, do you want to try to repeat? Kushi? Okay. So one more time, all of you. Dhyayate vishayo pumsan.
ध्यायतो विषयान्
Vishaye
पुंसः
pumsaha. Sangasteshu pajayate.
Sangastesham
सङ्गस्तेषु
Prajayate.
उपजायते
Sangat sanjayate kamaha.
Sangat sanjayate kamaha.
Kamat krodho bhijayate.
Kamat
कामात्
Krodha
क्रोधो विजायते.
Vijayate.
Okay, Manhar, can you read the word to word?
Yes, Mataji.
Mhm.
Dhyayataha. While contemplating Vishayan, sense objects, Pumsaha, of a person, Sangaha, attachment, Deshu, in the sense object, Upajayate, to develop, Sangat, from attachment, Sanjayate, to develops, Kama, desire, Kamat, from desire, Krodho, anger, Abhijayate, becomes manifest.
So, Mihika, word to word, dhyayataha. Can you do the word to word?
Okay, Mataji. Synonyms. Dhyayataha while contemplating Vishayan sense objects, Pumsaha of a person, Sangaha attachment, Teshu in the sense objects, Upajayate develops, Sangat from attachment, Sanjayate develops, Kamaha desire, Kamat from desire, Krodhaha anger, Abhijayate become manifest.
Okay, Gopal, can you read translation?
Okay. While contemplating the
Contemplating.
contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachments
Attachment.
for them, and from such attachments lust develops, and from lust anger arises.
Okay, Manhar and Mihika, repeat the read the translation one after another.
Okay, Mataji.
While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises.
Mihika?
While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises.
So, while contemplating the objects of the senses. So, we'll go to the meaning. We'll read the purport also, and then we'll go. So, let's both of you take turns. All of you take turns. Okay, Manhar, you can start.
Okay. One who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. The senses require real engagement, and if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism.
Okay, Mihika. Go ahead and read, Mihika.
Okay, Mataji. In the material world, everyone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planets, is subjected to the influence of sense objects, and the only method to get out of this puzzle of material existence is to become Krishna conscious. Lord Shiva was deep in meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to the proposal, and as a result Kartikeya was born. When Haridas Thakur was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi, but Haridas easily passed the test because of his unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna.
Okay. Manhar, I don't see Gopal.
Yeah,
You are there?
yeah.
Okay. Can you
As
read?
illustrations in this above mentioned verse.
Mentioned verse.
Mentioned in verse of Sri Yaman Acharya, and since devotees of the Lord's sons, all material sense enjoyments due to the higher taste of spiritual enjoyment in the intention of the Lord. Association of the Lord. That is the secret of success.
Okay, Manhar, can you complete?
Yes, Mataji. One who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail, for the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his senses.
Very good.
Stars.
So we'll go and understand the meaning of this verse. This verse tells us how we get angry actually. What is the reason? What is the cycle? What all the things happen before we get angry? The first thing is Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha. Vishayan means sense objects. Can you all list me some sense objects?
Smartwatches.
Okay.
Video games.
Okay.
Smartphones.
So Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha. Dhyayato means what? Contemplating. Contemplating means what? Can anyone explain the meaning of contemplating?
Like basically like using the objects of senses, like using them.
No, think about them for a long time. Dhyayato. You're kind of meditating on them only. You're only thinking of them. Dhyayato means it's just not you thought for once and you left it. You have been thinking about them. How I can get a smartwatch, how I can enjoy, what should I do with that? How can I get a smartphone of my mother and father? What can I watch on that? And how I will be feeling when I'm watching that, when I'm knowing that. Dhyayato. That means you are contemplating, you're thinking for a long time, for a profound amount of time. And what you are doing while thinking, you're also making plans how to enjoy. Like what did you say, Manhar? What sense object example you gave?
Video games.
Video games, yes. So when there is a good video game that you wanted to play is in front of you, if it is in front of you and you don't pay attention to it, you don't think about it, do you have any problem? If your mind is not thinking about it, you don't even feel like looking at it, do you have any problem?
No.
No. The problem comes when Dhyayato, contemplate, think about it. What else we do when we are thinking profoundly about it, when you're thinking at a lot of time, when you're meditating on that, that means your by body, mind, intelligence, everything is on that smartwatch, smartphone, video game.
You really want that sense
You
object.
get
really
attachment. You
and
get
then
attached to
what and then you will be planning how I can do, what can I do if I get a smartphone, what can I do if I get a video game, how can I play with it, how many hours I will be playing with it. So agree, Mihika, attachment, that's what it comes. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Pajayate. You develop attachment to it. Because you are meditating on it, you are thinking about it for a long time. Sangas, attachment. Teshu Pajayate. In that sense object, whatever is the sense object that you are looking, what happens? You develop attachment to it. Dhyayato Vishyan Pumsa. So if you don't contemplate on that object, you look at it, but you don't process it in the mind. You ignore it. You're seeing, but you're not really paying any attention to it, or you're not giving importance to it. You're ignoring it. Then you don't develop any attachment. You will develop attachment only when you start contemplating on it, when you start meditating on it, when you start thinking about it. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Pajayate. When you think about it for a longer time, when you make plans to enjoy it, when you make when you are missing, you do that. When you think about it for a longer time, deliberately on that, what happens? Attachment comes. What happens with attachment? Sangat sanjayate kamaha.
Lust develops.
From attachment, you develop a desire to enjoy it all the time. You want to enjoy it all the time, and you want it all the time. You don't want to do anything else. You only want to watch things on the smartwatch. You only want to play the video games all the time. You only want to look at your smart TV all the time. Then what happens? Sangat sanjayate kamaha. By attachment, what happened? You have developed desire to enjoy it. Lust. So why it is called lust when you're trying to enjoy all these things?
Because I think you really want it then.
Because you're trying to enjoy it separated from Krishna. You want to enjoy by yourself, for yourself, right? So that's why the desire which does not have Krishna in it is called lust. Like, because you don't have Krishna in it, you don't have love for Krishna in it, then it becomes lust. It is for your own sense satisfaction, for your satisfaction. Is there anything service you are doing with lust to Krishna? With a video game or a smartwatch or sense objects? Right? So you develop a strong desire, you develop lust over it. That means you want to master over it. You want to lord over it. You want to take control of it. And then what happens? You get a break for it. Because you cannot enjoy all the time the same thing. Right? Kamat krodho vijayate. Because you are not able to enjoy, you are not able to fulfill your desire, from lust comes anger. Anger. That's how you get anger. When you see a sense object, you develop attachment for that sense object. You make plans to enjoy that one, leaving Krishna, apart from Krishna, for your own satisfaction. And when you get a break in that, then you develop anger. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, because you want it all the time, because you're too much attached to it. You don't have control of it. That now you don't have a control that you have to only watch for certain time. You should not be using it all the time. You don't have that. So you want it all the time. All the time you only want to watch TV. All the time you only want smartwatch. All the time you only want video games. So you kind of develop that desire like that. That is lust, like doing too much of it, not doing it in a regulated way, doing over the top. And then from that lust comes anger. So Prabhupada, that is the reason, first reason for getting anger. This is the cycle. One who is not Krishna consciousness is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. So the sense objects are material. And whoever is not Krishna consciousness, that means whoever is not a devotee, whoever is thinking of not rendering service to Krishna, when he sees any subjects, he develops a desire to enjoy them for himself. The senses require real engagement. And if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of the materialism. The senses want some job. They cannot sit idle. So you either engage them in Krishna's job or you engage them in the material jobs. So when you are not engaging them in the Krishna's job, they automatically get attached to the material things because they cannot sit idle. The senses cannot sit idle. The senses has to listen something all the time. They have to see something all the time. They have to touch something all the time. If you are not giving them Krishna things, then automatically they get attracted to the material things. In the material world, everyone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planet, is subjected to the influence of the sense objects. Nobody can escape them from sense objects. If you see a sense object, if you start thinking about it, anybody will get under the control of that object. Like let's say some TV is running in your hall. Some nice kids show is coming, which you like all the time. You have an exam. When it is continuously playing in your house, you may kind of close your eyes, close your ears, go into another room and study. But even little bit you hear the sound, what you feel? Like you feel like going and watching it once, right? Do you feel like that or not? Manhar, Mihika, Gopal, did you ever feel like that? Going and watching it?
Used to.
Like maybe in your house.
Sometimes.
Nobody is playing TV. When I was a small kid, I used to have exams and I used to read, but then my grandparents used to watch TV in the next room. So my kitchen is, to go to kitchen, I have to cross the room where the TV is playing. So when I'm studying, I used to keep getting distracted. I'll go once for water. I'll go once for snack. I'll go and see if the dinner is ready. Because all the time my mind is asking me to go and watch TV. But I have some important thing to do. I have a test tomorrow. I have to prepare. I cannot. So anybody in this material world, it is very difficult to protect themselves from the influence of the sense object. So the only way to do that is to become Krishna conscious. Only when you are Krishna conscious, then you can have a control on it. Otherwise, you won't be able to control. So Lord Shiva was in deep meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to proposal, and as a result, Kartikeya was born. When Haridas Thakur was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi, but Haridasa easily passed the test because of his unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna. Haridas Thakur was a great devotee of Lord. He used to chant some 30,000 names in a day. So once a lady came to disturb him. So what did Haridas Thakur do? Does anybody know?
He just said, okay, first let me finish my rounds, then
So what you all should do when you hear a TV or a video game or anything that is distracting you? What should you all do?
Ignore.
Ignore, and you should say, let me finish my job first. Let me finish my, if you are chanting and if you are hearing, you should say, let me finish my chanting first. If you are preparing for test, what should you do? Let me prepare for my test first. Then I will go and watch TV. So if you keep ignoring and if you keep focusing on the important things, then that urge to see will go away. Like how that lady who came to disturb Haridas Thakura, she left because Haridas Thakura was asking her to wait for a longer time. When you are asking it to wait for a longer time, that desire goes away. So only a devotee of Krishna can control. So if you are having any bad habits, you want to control them, whenever you see, let's say maybe you are fond of sweets and the doctor said that you cannot eat any more chocolates, you cannot eat any more sugar. And whenever you see any sweet, you can't control yourself. If you chant, if you become Krishna consciousness, if you always hear to Krishna, chant, then automatically you will be able to control. So when you see those things, you have to ignore first. If you ignore 10 times, 11th time, it will be very easy for you to ignore. Even before you see, you will know that, no, I should not be eating this. I should not be indulging myself in this. This is not good for me. So as illustrated in the above mentioned verse of Sri Yamunacharya, a sincere devotee of the Lord shuns all material sense enjoyment due to his higher taste for spiritual enjoyment. So we have to develop taste for spiritual enjoyment. When we develop taste for spiritual enjoyment, automatically the taste for the material things goes away. Why? Can anybody say why? Why when you develop a spiritual thing, the taste for material thing goes away?
Because you will first have a taste for material things, and then you will replace it with a taste of spiritual things, so then it would go away.
That is one answer. Mihika, what is your answer?
Mataji, I was going to say because like the basic reason is because we realize that these object of senses are just for our attraction and they have like no meaning, so we're just going to like ignore them.
That is okay. I'm looking for something else. Anybody else can say? Because spiritual happiness is great and higher in taste than material happiness. See, if somebody is giving you something more yummy than what you used to like, do you want the less yummy one or the most yummy one?
Most
Both.
Most yummy one, right? So the spiritual happiness, engaging in the service of Krishna, when we get the taste, right now we don't have that taste. When we get that taste, it's more yummier than playing the video games, watching a movie, eating a pizza or anything. So when you have tasted that once, when you have tasted anything yummier than what you are eating, you always want that tasty thing, right? You don't want this less tasty thing, isn't it? All of you? So that is why it is. That is why it is when you have that higher taste, when you have tasted that higher thing, you don't feel like engaging yourself in this lower things. So that is the secret of success. The secret of controlling the influence of sense objects is to engage ourselves in Krishna's service, to chant more. So tomorrow when you all go to school, college, there may be people who wants to distract you, who tell you that this is good, that is good, and you may feel like doing them. Then you have to first of all ignore that feeling, come back and chant more so that your taste for it goes away. And the higher taste of chanting replaces that taste and you don't even feel like doing that anymore. One who is not Krishna consciousness, one who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail, for the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his desires. So those people who don't have this higher taste, who have never tasted this higher thing, because they only know the lower taste, the moment they see that object, they feel like having it because they only remember this taste and they have not tasted anything yummier than that. If they have not tasted anything yummier than that, whenever they see that, they want that. And they cannot have a control on it. As soon as they see a video game, they play for it. If let's say there is an exam and there is a video game or a TV show, you ignored the urge to the TV show and you have scored, you have studied well, you scored A in the exam and you are so happy, you are proud of yourself. Once you experience that feeling, you never feel like wasting your time before the exam. But those who never experienced that feeling of getting a higher score, they don't know that. So they always, whenever they see the TV, whether exam is there or not, they just engage in that. Do you all understand this shloka? Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Let's go to the next one. Krodad bhavati sammohaha.
Krodad bhavati sammohaha.
Sammohat smriti vibramaha.
Sammohat smriti vibramah.
Sammohat smriti vibramah.
Samahomat smriti vibramah.
Sammohat smriti vibramah.
Sammohat smriti vibramah.
Smriti bramsad buddhinasho.
Smriti Vramsad Buddhinasho.
Smriti bramsad buddhinaso.
Smriti Vramsad Buddhinasho.
Buddhinasat pranashyati.
Buddhinashat Pranashyati.
Okay, Manhar, can you make all of us repeat?
Okay. Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha.
Krodhat bhavati
Bhavati sammohaha.
sammohaha.
Sammohat Smriti Vibramaha.
Sammohat smriti vibramaha.
Smriti Vramsad Buddhinasho.
Smriti bramsat
Brahmsad
buddhinasho.
buddhinasho.
Buddhinashat Pranashyati.
Buddhinasat pranashyati. Okay, Mihika, you want to?
Yes, Mataji. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha.
Krodhat bhavati sammohaha.
Sammohat smriti vibramah.
Sammohat smriti vibramaha.
Smriti brahmsad buddhinasho.
Smriti bramsat buddhinaso.
Buddhinashat pranashyati.
Buddhinasat pranashyati. Gopal, you want to do?
Yes. Krodhat
Krodhat bhavati
bhavati
sammohaha. Can you repeat?
Krodha bhavati sammoha.
Very good. Sammohat smriti vibramaha.
Sammoha smriti brahmaha.
Vibramaha.
Brahmaha.
Very good. Smriti bramsad
Smriti brahmsad.
buddhinaso.
Buddhinaso.
Buddhinasat
Buddhinasat.
pranasyati.
Pranasati.
Very good. Okay. Mihika, you want to read the synonyms?
Yes, Mataji. Krodhat from anger. Bhavati takes place. Samoha, perfect illusion. Samohat from illusion. Smriti, memory. Vibramaha, bewilderment. Smriti, Brahmsat, after bewilderment of memory. Buddhi nashaha, loss of intelligence. Buddhi nashat, and from loss of intelligence. Pranashyati, one falls down.
Okay. Translation, all three of you, one by one. Yeah, go ahead, Manhar.
Okay, from anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool.
Can Govinda try?
Yes, Govinda, go ahead.
From anger, complete delusion arise, and from delusions, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. When intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool.
Very good. Mihika?
Okay, Mataji. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again in the material pool.
So what did we see first? Dhyayato vishayo pumsan. When you see a sense object, you start contemplating on that. So when you contemplate, you develop attachment. So when you develop attachment, what happens next? You get desire to enjoy. Attachment, from attachment develops lust. From lust comes anger, right, Manhar? The 4 steps. So we are until the stage we got anger now, Gopal. So what happens next? From anger comes complete
Lost
delusion.
intelligence.
From anger comes complete delusion. What is delusion means?
Like when you do not know, then you can't do anything else.
Delusion means you will be seeing cat, but you are thinking it is tiger. You can't see clearly. You don't know, like you can't really see the things in the way they are. So what are you thinking right now is that you wanted to enjoy the video game. So you feel as if you don't play video game today, you're going to suffer a lot. You feel like your world is stopped. You don't have any enjoyment in life. You're going to die. Sometimes we feel like that. If this is not there, I'm going to die. My day is ruined. I have no enjoyment in my life. You cry. That means you are really not seeing the things in the real way. You are seeing a mirage and thinking that you are having a water. Like in the desert, they see like that. So delusion means seeing a cat and thinking it is a tiger. Not able to see the things as they are. You will be seeing one thing, but you will be thinking it as another thing. Okay? You don't have the real picture. The reality is something else, but you are thinking something. That is what delusion means. There may be a rope there, but you think it is snake and you get scared. Delusion is that. So when delusion happens, what happens next? You get confused in your memory because already you are thinking, you are looking at cat and you are saying that is tiger. So your memory is now confused. What is tiger? What is cat? You don't know. When memory is confused, what is the first thing that is lost? When you have a confused memory, Manhar, what is that is lost?
We have a confused memory.
If
Then
you lost intelligence.
intelligence is
Yes, Gopal, very good. You lose intelligence. What does intelligence help us?
To tell what is
It
it.
helps us tell what is right and what's wrong.
And what is it? Actually, right. The intelligence tells us whether this is cat or tiger.
Yeah.
And now we lost it. So what happens next? We fall down.
You fallen from the spiritual world?
Yeah, so now we fall down. So anger causes these many things. From anger comes complete delusion, and from complete delusion comes bewilderment of memory. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. When intelligence is lost, we do the things which we are not supposed to be doing. And then as a result of that, we have to suffer for our sinful actions. So these many things happen. Okay. Manhar, can you start reading? Purport?
Yes, Mataji. Srila Rupa Goswami is giving us this direction. Prap anchikataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastunaha
Mokshubhihi.
partyago vairagyam falgu kathyate. By development of Krishna consciousness, one can know that everything has its use in the service of the Lord. Those who are without knowledge of Krishna consciousness artificially try to avoid material objects, and as a result, although they desire liberation from material bondage, they do not attain to the perfect state of renunciation. Their so-called renunciation is called falgu, or less important.
Okay, next, Mihika. Can you go? Thank you, Manhar.
Okay, Mataji. On the other hand, a person in Krishna consciousness
Okay, Gaura, can you let Mihika read?
Yes.
Knows how to use everything in the service of the Lord. Therefore, he does not become a victim of material consciousness. For example, for any impersonalist, the Lord or the Absolute being impersonal cannot eat. Whereas an impersonalist tries to avoid good eatables, a devotee knows that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and that he eats all that is offered to him in devotion. So after offering good eatables to the Lord, the devotee takes the remnants called prasadam.
Very good. Govinda, can you read from there?
Where?
Thus everything, from thus everything.
Thus everything becomes spiritualized, and there is no danger and downfall of a downfall. The devotee takes prasadam in Krishna consciousness, whereas the non-devotee rejects it as material, that in presentation therefore cannot enjoy love due to his ancient life reunions, and for the reason of slight attentions of the mind pulls him down again into the pool of material existence. It is said that such a soul, even through riding up to the point of the liberation, falls down again due to his not having support of devotional service.
Very good. So by development of Krishna consciousness, one can know that everything has its use in the service of the Lord. Those who are without knowledge of Krishna consciousness artificially try to avoid material objects. And as a result, although they desire liberation from material bondage, they do not attain to the perfection of renunciation. So we don't need to boycott the material objects. We can use them in the service of the Lord. Like how you can use your smartwatch to keep alarms for your classes, to get up, to play bhajans, or to give you reminders of reading. And your smart TV you can use to play lectures. You can hear to the kirtans. You can see Krishna conscious related movies. So everything you can use, material things, when you use them in the service of Krishna, those material things are no longer causing any disturbance for you, because you are engaging them in service of Krishna. But there are some people who don't know how to do it. They think that the material things are going to bind them and they try to ignore them. But you cannot ignore them for a longer time, because you are in this material world. You will be seeing them all the way, or everywhere. So you cannot say that, oh, smartphone is not good for me, I'm not going to use it. But what you should do, you should know how to use it. You should know, you should learn how to use the material things. Completely not using is not the solution. How to use it rightly is the solution. So you have a smartwatch, now you have your intelligence. It's there, so you use it for the right things. You don't browse for the wrong things on your smartphones. You won't play the wrong things on your phones. Then you are using it for the right thing. Then that smartphone cannot do anything to you. If you completely boycott it, and one day you find that smartphone, you feel like doing so many things on that. And in that process, you may end up doing the wrong things. So Krishna, Prabhupada is saying, on the other hand, a person in Krishna consciousness knows how to use everything in the service of the Lord. Therefore, he does not become a victim of material consciousness. Anything he sees, he uses it in the service of the Lord. A Krishna conscious person, everything he uses in the service of the Lord. For example, for an impersonalist, the Lord or the absolute being impersonal cannot eat. Whereas an impersonalist tries to avoid good eatables, a devotee knows that Krishna is supreme enjoyer and that he eats all that is offered to him in devotion. So after offering good eatables to the Lord, the devotee takes the remnants prasadam. So for those people who think that Krishna does not have any form, is not a person, for them Krishna is just an absolute light or something like a Brahman. So that cannot eat, right? Light cannot eat. Can light eat? Can any light eat?
No, Mataji.
So what do they think? They think that, because I have to become devoted to that absolute truth, I also should stop eating. And they stop eating, but they still have that taste in them for those foods. So they fall down sometimes. But what a devotee do? Whatever he feel like eating, he will offer it to Krishna and he will eat it. So when he does that, he eats prasadam and he gets purified, and he don't need to control anything. If he feels like eating rasgulla, he'll go and offer rasgulla and eat. If he feel like eating gulab jamun, he's going to offer gulab jamun and eat. In that way, you are not really stopping yourself from eating anything. Thus, everything becomes spiritualized. So what does a devotee do? He makes every material thing a spiritual thing. He spiritualizes it. So Manhar, how do we spiritualize something?
By offering it to Krishna.
Very good. And by using it in Krishna's service. In both the ways, we spiritualize it. We don't need to boycott it. We don't need to stop it. So Govinda, what happens when we take prasadam?
We feel development and happiness.
Yeah, so you don't need to worry that you have to stop eating some favorite food of yours, right? Because you have offered it to Krishna and you are eating, and prasadam purifies us. When prasadam purifies us, what happens, Mihika?
We don't do like bad. We don't do sins.
We don't have our bad qualities, bad
We don't
habits
have that.
slowly go away. Thus, everything becomes spiritualized and there is no danger of downfall. The devotee takes prasadam in Krishna consciousness, whereas the non-devotee rejects it as material. The impersonalist therefore cannot enjoy life but to his artificial renunciation, and for this reason a slight hesitation of the mind pulls him down into the pool. It is said that such a soul, even though rising up to the point of liberation, falls down again due to his not having support in devotional service. So if we do devotional service, when we engage everything in the service of Krishna, then what happens? We will get liberated and we'll go back to spiritual world, and we don't need to leave anything. We don't need to really leave anything. We can use everything, but what we have to do? We have to spiritualize. That's it. We don't need to leave anything. We have to engage everything in Krishna's service. So we have learned 2 shlokas today, and I think we're almost at the end of this session. You have an art session at 1:30, right?
Mataji, no.
No? Okay. Okay. Then we can complete here. Anyone has any questions? Manhar, go ahead.
Mataji, like you said, we can use all sense objects in Krishna's service. I don't get how we can also use video games in Krishna's service.
Yeah, how you can develop a Krishna conscious video game. So what happens in the video games generally? There is no Krishna, right? There is only fighting. I never played video games, so I don't know.
Well, there is Krishna games, some of them, and also some of them are fighting games.
There's like fighting games, they fight each other and they build stuff.
No, also there's Krishna games. Those are Krishna games.
But then you can design something where you have Krishna related things. How Krishna killed different monsters.
I have those games.
You can play those kind of video games.
Can I show you?
So you can play those kind of games, or you can play different games where it's
this one. I have this one.
Oh.
This is about the laws of nature.
And
this is the game.
Oh yeah, so you can also use like Kahoot.
Yeah, you can play those kind of games where you can remember Krishna. Like Snake and Ladders usually reminds you
Oh,
of so many
I
names.
have Snake and Ladder.
Ha.
And I have the demon game that about Krishna killing.
So you can play all those things. In that way, you don't need to lose the fun of playing the games, Manhar.
Okay.
You can still play the games, but you kind of spiritualized it by putting Krishna there.
This is what I'm playing.
Laws of nature. Yeah. Do you have something, Manhar? Oh, Snake and Ladders?
Krishna version.
Oh, Krishna version. See? So you can play all those things. In that way, even playing, we have spiritualized it.
Also, I have a Krishna backpack.
Everything. We can, we just need to keep Krishna everywhere. And
Yeah.
if we are not able to put a Krishna, then we have to leave it. Like you cannot say, I'll go and I'll do bad things and I'll put Krishna name. No, it's not like that. For good things, for us not to get attached to it, we put Krishna. Then what happens? We get attached to Krishna. Even playing, then, if you are taking the names of Krishna, how Krishna killed this monster, that monster, how Krishna killed Putana, how Krishna killed Trunavatta, like that, then you are already thinking of Krishna. I liked your backpack, Gopal.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So any more questions? Good job, Manhar. You are also asking questions and trying to understand. And I see that you are very regular to all the classes. So you can pat yourself back and thank Krishna for letting you.
Also me, but sometimes I cannot join because I have like the other classes.
Yes, Gopal, I see you also regular, Mihika also regular, Kushi also regular. All of you are very fortunate.
Except I don't join Monday and Friday and Thursday.
Okay.
The rest of the time I join.
Okay.
Because I have martial classes on Monday and Thursday.
Oh, you have martial classes, karate?
Yeah.
Very good, all of you. Okay, may Krishna bless all of you. May Lord Narasimha give his protection to you and all your family members. Remove all obstacles in your devotional service. We will conclude today's session here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha.
Then we have art class.
I don't know that. Mihika has to say that.
No, Mataji.
No. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha krupa sindhubhyayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki